All right, cool. All right, well, just a brief echo, briefly because it's being recorded now. Again, my name is Mike Major, senior Azure consultant with Tech IT. I've worked in the IT space with Azure for about 10 years now, and so today we'll be discussing primarily how AI within Microsoft, specifically Copilot, can impact your business and how it's impacting businesses as a whole. And we'll be discussing that overall today. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, and just a quick nod. Can everyone see my screen okay? All right, great. All right, thank you, Cecilia. Appreciate it. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into today. So, as it's been stated, today we'll be discussing Microsoft 365, and this is a digital workforce workshop. And my name again is Mike Major, Senior Azure Consultant for Tech IT. So, we're at a very unique moment in time. I'm sure all of us can agree. Um, in terms of the digitization of our business, right, of businesses as a whole, with the inclusion of AI, right? It's commonly being tossed around here and there. That AI is here, AI is there. What does it mean? How is it going to impact workflows and what have you, right? And so, the industries are transforming. I think we can all agree to that, right? The environments are shifting, and we're at a technological inflection point as it relates to AI and just how businesses are evolving. I just wanted to show you some information here. So we have not in the span of time, as long as I've been alive, really experienced diffusion at this scale within the technical industry, right? We now see that the growth curve that you can see on the screen here, right? It represents several different periods, right? So there was the mobile phones period, right? We all remember the very first mobile phones, maybe the StarTACs, those Nokias, right? Well, to get to 100 million users, it took 16 years for the internet, right? So let's take it back. I'm dating myself here, but take it back to, the very first sets of opportunities for using computer internet. In terms of users, that took 7 years. And I was in college when Facebook started. I was actually I remember using Facebook in college. Well, for it to get to 100 million users, it took 4.5 years. What those technologies have taken anywhere from 16 to 4.5, ChatGPT has done it in 3 months. That's incredible, right? And so we see that the growth is a straight line. It's hyper accelerated, right? And so we really got to be mindful of just how fast it's evolving, all right? And we want to make sure that we're educated on this and its impacts within our space. So as we look at the platform shifts, right? History has taught us that technology is what's ultimately going to impact GDP growth, right? And again, the pace of change has been vastly accelerated, as we can see during the past several years. I mean, you're looking from the 1900s to the 2000s, a 20 times increase in terms of GDP growth, right? But again, as technology evolved with each iteration, it forced GDP growth, right? And again, that GDP growth is important because again, it reflects growth of our economies, right? From small businesses to even large, medium businesses or what have you, right? And so technology spend also, right? The amount of spending that's called technology has also grown a lot, right? And again, we can see the multipliers at the bottom here, right? And so really at the key here is that it's growing quite a bit. All right. So one of the narratives around AI, right? It's the notion that people, and myself included, I had those initial concerns, was that, is it going to really impact people's jobs, right? Is it going to get people to replace our jobs, right? And one of the things that I wanted to make sure to speak to today was to really address that because that's a real feeling, all right? But you can't combat these situations with fear. You have to combat it with information and knowledge, right? And so while 49% of respondents had some concerns about job security, 70% would still choose to delegate as much work as possible to their AI. So as much as there was some concern, people thought, well, this could be useful if I could take some of my workload and disperse it, right? And I think that's really where we have to focus in on. That's really the key here is how can we make doing the work that we do easier as opposed to looking at it as far as it replacing us, okay? Because at the end of the day, people are people, all right? We have a unique ability to do the work with a level of human compassion and that AI cannot replicate. But AI can be an asset to helping us do our work in an effective way. All right. And so we choose to look at the data and understand that employees know what's in it for them. And it's really a matter of taking excessive amounts of work and dispersing it as best we can. So let's kind of take our shift our mind to Copilot, right? So if in fact when Copilot was offered as a choice, right, um, for as opposed to free lunch, right, people chose that they would still take Copilot. I mean, that's incredible, right? I mean, hey, I can enjoy a free lunch. Lunch these days is, maybe you go out and get a sub or you get a sandwich. It used to cost you maybe like under $5. Now it's going to cost you maybe closer to 10, right? But even with that notion that with the increase in cost, people still found value in what Copilot can provide. All right. And so we just really want to make sure that we're zeroing in on that. Okay? So the platform shift to AI is well underway, and just as customers turn to Microsoft to help them make the shift, as it relates to remote and flexible work, they're now turning to us to help them understand how this new era of AI will change work yet again, right? And we've relied on data to help us understand where work is going, right? We do that through work trend index, right? And as well as productivity signals from Microsoft Graph, and we take in labor market data from LinkedIn WLS. So all this information is what allows us to understand where things are progressing. All right, and so I'll pull up some information here just to kind of show you. That based off of that research, 64% of employees don't have enough time or energy to do their job, right? They're inundated with so many tasks and things that they have to do, they just don't have enough time. All right. And the primary causes of this time and energy drain are things like searching for information, right? Navigating through inefficient meetings, right? Maybe you're being called to 4 or 5 meetings during the day when really you could really be in two. Maybe those meetings can be consolidated, right? And so we found that employees reported spending nearly 60% of their time on just communicating and coordinating. Okay. That leaves about 40% for actual creation, deep thinking, and collaboration. And the volume of data, emails, chats, right? It's really outpaced our ability to process it all. It can be a bit more overwhelming. And what that's called is it's called digital debt. Okay. And every minute spent managing this digital debt is a minute not spent actually creating, right? Actually doing creative work. And in a world where creativity is the new productivity, digital debt is more than an inconvenience, it's impacting our business, right? It's impacting our ability to really take our businesses to the next level. Okay. All right. So, a recent study that also found, and I was wanting to share this with you guys as well. 80% of organizations believe AI will give them a competitive edge. Again, it's it's looking at it from a different perspective, a different lens. How can we take this tool that is constantly evolving and make it better for our business? How can it help us take things to the next level, make things easier for us as an organization to do our work and do it more streamlined, more efficiently? Okay. All right. And so the question every leader, some of you are asking yourselves, and leaders across the industry space is how will your organization seize the full potential of AI while also safeguarding your business, your data, and your most valuable asset, your employees, right? And how will you really do this for your customers as well? How does it translate to them too? Okay, these are all the questions that many leaders are asking. Okay, and so a recent work trend index tells us that 64%, 64%, just to kind of circle back to that, 64% of employees don't have enough time and energy to do their job. That's incredible, right? 64%. I really want us to really focus on that. Okay. And again, employees lacking the time and energy to do their job, they're more than likely, I think about 3.5 times more likely to struggle to actually innovate or do strategic thinking that's beneficial for the business. And so the shift is that employees are starting to really embrace the idea of using AI to support their work, not replace their work. Okay. And in fact, I think 70% is the figure we have here. Yeah, 70% are willing to delegate the work to AI. So we really want to combat this notion that it's AI is here to replace people. That's not really the focus here. The focus is how can we use AI to enhance our work, to support our work and support what we need to do. Okay. So so before we jump into AI, we really want to make sure that we're mentally preparing, right? And there's a couple things that we want to ask ourselves, right? So the first thing is, well, what are your organization's goals, right? What exactly are your goals as it relates to using AI, right? What are your organization's pain points, right? Where are those points of contention that is driving your business in a negative direction or causing it to stymie and not grow in the way you feel is beneficial? What are your organization's current capabilities in terms of AI? Like, what is it currently? What's the current iteration? How's it being used? Right? Does your organization have a data strategy in place? Right? What is that data strategy? Right? How are you managing your data? Where is it being stored? How is it being analyzed? Are you doing diagnostics on the data? How exactly are you utilizing it? And does your organization have the necessary infrastructure and resources to support it? Because that's important, right? It doesn't actually have what's necessary to support it. And you have to ask those questions. Once you ask those questions, then it gives you a path to really taking AI and really implementing it into your business in an effective way. So we have two key pieces here that we want to focus on is we have a foundational productivity as it relates to an AI powered organization. And then we have obviously the transition into now Copilot from Microsoft 365. And I'll give you guys a bit of a breakdown of what I mean by that in terms of foundational productivity. Okay. So rather than to develop like artificial intelligence from scratch, what ended up happening was is data scientists found a foundation model as a starting point and use it to develop machine learning models that power new applications more quickly and cost effectively. Okay. So that's where we start at the baseline, right? And as at a foundation level, becoming an AI powered business begins with taking three key steps towards foundational productivity, right? So you want to start by helping your customers, empower employees you want to start by empowering them with secure AI powered tools such as Microsoft Copilot, right? Which for those who may have used it before, formerly it was Bing Chat, with commercial data protection. And learning how to use Copilot in the workplace today is really an important way to get started with using generative AI securely, right? Because you could use a whole lot of tools that are out there, but the real question you have to ask yourself is it secure, right? How does it integrate with my business and how does it make it beneficial? The skill development around using AI in the workplace will be really critical for users to quickly adapt and adopt, right? If we're using Copilot 365, once it's fully embedded in your environment. And as the next slide shows, your customers are ready to embrace AI, they just need a bit more expertise. And that's where we step in, right? So you want to start by helping them standardize 365, okay? Making sure that they move their data into the cloud and it'll be better positioned to harness AI's transformative potential. Okay. All right. And hopefully you guys are seeing it on the screen here. Okay. Yeah. Great. And then you want to just make sure, in addition to that, um, once we start the standardization piece, we want to make sure that we organize the business data. All right. So making sure that all the data is protected and kept secure, because again, that data is valuable. All right. And we understand that. And that's a key part, not of AI, but also keeping your business running securely as well. Right. Yeah. So as we kind of set the foundation for uh, the uh, the transformation into AI, once we've established that, now we're really able to jump into Copilot 365. Okay, so let's kind of talk about it. So and this is where I get a little excited. So don't mind me if I kind of go bust through these slides. I'm going to try to go at a nice pace because it's really exciting, the cool things that Copilot can do. So let's jump into it, right? So why Copilot, right? That's really what it's about, right? So it's a powerful, it's protective, it has a ton of benefits. It has access to powerful AI models. So Copilot, for those who are not aware, uses ChatGPT 4 for text, and then for images, it uses what's called DALL-E for the latest AI models, right? Not to mention, this access comes at no additional cost on eligible licenses. So just to be clear, there's no additional cost. So Copilot is taking in that information from those models to strengthen its composure, and then makes it valuable for you as an assistant to help you with your workday efficiencies. And we'll kind of give that a breakdown in a moment here. Oh, let me just make sure. Yep, we did talk about that. Okay, cool. So workday efficiencies with Copilot, right? So employees and teams can leverage Copilot to help them do tasks like summarize PDFs more quickly, right? You ever get a PDF that's like, it's really long. You're like, man, I got to spend the next 20 minutes reading it. Well, you can ask Copilot to take that information and summarize it and just give you the main bullet points. That way you can quickly review it before that next meeting, right? Keep productivity going. So as draft emails more efficiently, right? You can get answers to complex questions more with ease. And these are just some of the common workday usage cases that we've seen, and I'm sure in time more will come. So just to kind of talk about Copilot as it relates to 365, right? We're noticing a massive shift, um, that based off of what's happening, it's going to require a level of new skill and familiarity, right? And that's understanding prompt engineering. Is going to really reimagine the workflows of AI. And prompt engineering is essentially the ability to ensure the prompts are going to give you the necessary information that you need. We want to make sure those prompts are fortified to give you the information that's necessary, right? And so 82% of leaders anticipate employees will need new skills in this AI era. And we're already seeing about a 79% year-over-year increase in the number of LinkedIn job postings in the US that reference ChatGPT, that reference GAI, which is generative AI, right? And so your ability to tap into those skills is what's really going to be helpful for you to become more comfortable. And employees, we're finding are already ready to jump into learning these skill set. About I think close to 92% of technical professionals have either used or tried an AI tool, right? To help them learn new skills or to transform the way they work. They're already kind of diving into it, so the process has already started, and the tools there will make it beneficial in the workplace. All right, great. So as we talked about, there's different pieces here, but the foundational productivity starts with Microsoft 365. Is a solution that stretches across different elements required in the modern world at work, and that are essential prerequisites for leveraging Copilot in Microsoft 365, right? And so one of those key components within the solution is called Zero Trust. Okay. So Zero Trust shows that every access point to your network and your data is rigorously authenticated. Okay, it's protected, reducing the risk of security breaches. Okay, all right. So that's one of the key tenets there. Then you have a robust endpoint management, allows for seamless device control, maintenance and security enforcement, and creating a stable environment. Okay, and productivity and collaboration tools designed to work together to help customers be more efficient, okay, and more effective, okay. And through this comprehensive solution, all these capabilities with a stack of products under each one are designed to work together to minimize operations, cost, and complexity. And we believe that zero trust and a simplified endpoint management are requirements for providing a productive and collaborative environment. So really making sure that we've made it secure, we made it stable, simplified, and we ensure that productivity and collaboration are intertwined in that. Those are the key tenets that we want to focus on. All right, great. So Copilot inherits your organization's existing 365 security and compliance and privacy policies, which is great. You don't have to redo it. Okay, whatever you have in place, it will absorb that. Okay, so your data is logically isolated and protected within your Microsoft 365 tenant and always within your control. So by design, Copilot for 365, it's really focused on respecting user specific group permissions, any content or information that's retrieved, and it only generates responses based on information that users explicitly have permission to access. Right? Again, that's making sure that we make sure anything that you're being able to access is restricted based off of your needs and based off your configuration. And so this will help small medium businesses assess their data, security policies, and to prepare customer environments for a better Copilot 365 experience. And again, ensuring that data is protected, especially sensitive organizational data. Excuse me. Apologies. Battling a cold here. Not winning, but we're going to put up a fight. um, yeah, Microsoft 365 will allow you to classify your teams to ensure that the right people are in the right conversations. Then we also have Business Premium, which specifically includes important capabilities such as sensitivity labels, retention labels, to help customers really apply and restrict permissions in Microsoft 365 and set retention labels and policies for email. So it's going to allow you to really customize your experience to what you need, as well as make sure that you can label things and configure them as necessary for your business. Doing these things will ensure that the semantic index for Copilot for 365 is reasoning over the set of business contexts and content that will surface the most relevant and actual information from within the organization to the end user, and things like content oversharing and accidental leakage, which is things that we want to make sure that we want to avoid there. Okay. Right. So Copilot for 365, right? So as you can see here, um, really designed to unlock productivity, unleash your creativity, all right? And it's based off of, again, large language models, Microsoft Graph, which is based off your actual data, the 365 application suite, and the internet. All those things is it's pulling to gather information to make it more robust and beneficial for you. All right. So Copilot for 365 is built on Microsoft's comprehensive approach, right? Which is focused on, again, security, compliance, privacy, and responsible AI usage. Okay. And Copilot is designed to allow you to focus on what matters most. All right. It's going to free your mind from all the tools and repetitive tasks. Excuse me. So you can spend more time focusing on what matters most, like running your day-to-day business, growing your customers, and building your brand and scaling securely. All right. So this means you'll be able to serve your customers better with Outlook, land more deals, right? Grow your customer base, and build your brand more creatively and effectively with Word and PowerPoint, and think faster with Excel. All right. So let's see this in action. Now, let's see here. So as we talked about, again, these are the main tools or applications, not tools, excuse me, applications within 365. I'm sure a lot of you guys are already familiar with them as well. If you're not, it's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams that we're all sitting on right now. Okay. So I'll have a quick video to show you that'll kind of give you a brief glimpse into Copilot. So let's jump right into it. Oh, real quick, just want to make sure. Can everyone hear me okay? Oh, can everyone hear the audio? Okay. All right, I'm just going to bring it back.
Well, straight to the top, never going down, don't wait for the drop. Stand still, that's the motto. Yeah, brand new bands for the auto. Oh, foot to the ground, full throttle. Big energy for the night like lotto. Y'all talk lots, never this quiet, like the Seinfeld plot. Ball full of songs, all of them bombs, something like a minefield guy. Boom. Get it, tickets running out quick. Bet it, never get it out big. Said it, never had to shout it. They said I couldn't never do it, okay, how's this? Fit a week worth of work in a minute. Machine well oiled, you know how I stay efficient. To-do list written, I do this different. Hold up, wait a minute, I ain't finished. Look, flows the same now. Paved the way, the snakes and fakes are chased out. Back to back to back, I changed the pace now. Had to stack the cash until the bank's out. Straight to the top, never going down, don't wait for the drop.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Z. And we have, yeah, and just to kind of explain, we noticed that there may have been some static on the playback, so we wanted to make sure that you guys could hear it clearly. So hopefully you guys are able to check out the video and see all the cool capabilities with Copilot. We'll go ahead and jump into the next. I'll kind of introduce. There's another video, so I'm gonna just go and kind of introduce it. And then we'll go into the next video there. So, Copilot for Microsoft 365 is really a phenomenal tool. But we all know that you know all your data lives within Graph. All your data lives, within Graph, right? Which is going to hold all your data. So what if you're able to give Copilot access to all your data, right? That includes finance, sales, HR systems. What if you can give Copilot the keys to unlock that treasure trove of data, right? And information across every line of your business? Well, now you can do that with Copilot Studio, all right? And Copilot Studio is a low-code tool that does three things, right? And so first, it will allow you to connect Copilot to other data using pre-built or custom plugins within ChatGPT. So you can tap into any system to record, including your within your custom line of business solutions, as well as it enables you to create and orchestrate sophisticated logic. All right, and then third, you manage it all. Right, it's not managed by Microsoft. Right, it will be managed by you. So your IT teams are able to stay in control. So Copilot is believe for the most part it should be available today, and its integration within 365 for Copilot is available in public preview. All right, so I just wanted to touch on that before we jump into the next video, which will be specifically talking about Copilot and Teams. Obviously, we're in Teams right now, so this should be really interesting given that we're in the application. So I'll let Z go ahead and play the video and check it out.
Imagine you have an appointment that conflicts with your weekly business review. What if you could do both? With Copilot, you can opt to follow a meeting. After the meeting ends, Copilot will summarize what you missed. You'll get a notification in Teams when the recap is ready. This recap will highlight content that was shared, summarize notes, and any action items for you or others whose names were mentioned. You see that one of your customers was discussed. and you want to learn more. You can ask Copilot clarifying questions, and it provides a detailed response. It can tell you why a certain decision was made, and gives you helpful context. You can even ask Copilot what other solutions were considered, and it provides citations from the transcript so you can see where Copilot drew these conclusions. It's a huge time saver. So that was pretty cool. But the real magic of Copilot happens during a live meeting. Let's say you're in a meeting with your team. You can ask Copilot to summarize the meeting so far. You can see how it summarizes who said what points were made, and it's really capturing the spirit of the discussion. And as the meeting progresses, you can check in on where people stand. You can even ask Copilot what questions are unresolved. It's just amazing to see this happen in real time during a meeting.
Impressive, right? So just imagine again, think about using Copilot to really be an asset to your business, making it more efficient for you to work. That's what this is all about. And starting at something as simple as taking notes, summarizing the call or the meeting, right? It's really, really transformative stuff. And so I hope that all these tools, as we go through them, will just kind of reinforce this, how beneficial this can be for your business. Okay. So we'll have some more videos to show to kind of display all the cool things that Copilot can do. Um, just wanted to do the quick little recap as it relates to team, right? And so the intelligent recap portion was one of the cool features in Teams that I kind of really gravitated to, just because it's 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 a great way to really jump right into utilizing how Copilot can benefit you from an AI capability standpoint and posturing for your business. Because many times when I've been on meetings, taking notes and trying to listen at the same time can be a bit challenging. But having those AI capabilities there really ensures that I'm able to lock in my meetings and focus strictly on what's being said and being able to engage in the discussion. And then ensuring that afterwards, okay, yep, I have my recap notes, and letting Copilot do that work for me, for everyone, is again a key advantage. Okay. All right, cool. So we've talked about Teams. Let's also now shift over to another really popular tool, which is Copilot within Outlook. So let's check it out.
Copilot in Outlook can help you prioritize your time and stay on top of meetings. Here you've been invited to a meeting that conflicts with a meeting you're planning to attend. Clearly, you can only attend one. From the meeting invite, you can choose to RSVP with follow. Switching over to your calendar, you can see that you're now following this meeting. Once the meeting starts on Teams, the organizer will receive a notification to record the meeting because someone is following it. Now, after the meeting is done and the recording is ready, Copilot will notify you that the meeting recap is ready for you to review. You can then ask Copilot some questions about the meeting, like, summarize this meeting, or are there any action items for me? That way you can stay on top of things as if you were present during the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you. So again, ensuring that you're able to stay productive within Word is within Outlook is a very key thing, right? And so we'll continue to go through the rest of the applications. I won't stop and interrupt each time, but again, I just want you to focus in on how Copilot's being used to really benefit these applications. So with that being said, let's see Copilot within Word.
When you've written a paragraph in shorthand, you can highlight it and click Rewrite. Copilot then offers several alternate options to choose from that are all written professionally. And it can translate wordy or complex paragraphs into digestible visualized tables. You can even use Copilot to add a column with extra data, which it can complete automatically. Copilot also makes you the expert on any document. Simply ask a question about the content, and Copilot will provide a concise response.
in Copilot in Excel.
Copilot puts all the rich capabilities of Excel at your fingertips. Say you need to analyze this quarter's sales results for the monthly business review. You start by asking Copilot to analyze the data and give you 3 key trends. Within seconds, you've got what you need, but you want to drill in. You ask Copilot a follow-up question about one of the trends. Copilot creates a new sheet, giving you a sandbox to play in, and helping you get a better understanding of what's happening without modifying the data in the original sheet. You ask Copilot to visualize what contributed to the decline in sales growth this period. Copilot adds a little color to make the problem jump off the page. Now you want to dig a little deeper and ask a follow-up question with a what-if scenario. Copilot not only answers your question, it creates a simple model of the scenario, and even asks you if you want to learn more about what it did, with a step-by-step breakdown. Finally, you can ask it to create a graph of your projected model. Copilot has turned a sea of data into clear insights and actions.
And Copilot with data security.
Microsoft 365 Copilot works with the data security controls you have in place for file access, labeling, classification, and data loss prevention. Mario Rogers works for Violet Martinez, and both are on the same team at Contoso. Mario and Violet are also members in the same group working on Project Falcon. Now we'll start with Violet, who's been working with the procurement and contract management teams to sell their partner ReliCloud 1,500 Mark 8 quadcopters. And you can see the file is labeled highly confidential with restricted access, and it describes all the terms in the purchase agreement. Because Violet has access to the file, she's able to search for and find it in SharePoint and Microsoft365.com. And of course, Violet can also navigate to the file's location in the agreements folder of the project site to find the purchase agreement. So now let's look at Mario's experience. Even though he's on the same team and working on Project Falcon with Violet, if Mario tries to search for the Contoso purchase agreement, he won't find it. And there are a few purchasing documents that he does find without sensitive information, but not the one that Violet's working on. And if Mario knows the location of the purchase agreement and tries to navigate to it directly, it just appears as an empty folder to him. And when Mario launches Word on the web and creates a blank document, then prompts Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the Contoso purchase agreement as a reference file, because Microsoft 365 Copilot respects the file permissions of its user, Copilot also cannot access the purchase agreement. Now, if we switch back to Violet's screen, because she has permission to access the purchase agreement, she can use Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the file. And after a moment, you'll see it created a summary of the purchase agreement, and Violet decides to keep it. Then data security controls for Microsoft Purview discover sensitive information found in the Microsoft 365 Copilot generated content. The document is automatically labeled as highly confidential, and policies are enforced to restrict access to the document.
Microsoft 365 Copilot is transforming work with the power of generative AI. It's built on Microsoft's comprehensive approach to enterprise-grade security, compliance, privacy, identity, and responsible AI. Copilot automatically inherits your organization's Microsoft 365 security, compliance, and privacy policies, so you know your data is protected and always in your control. It all starts with your Microsoft 365 tenant. Data stored in your tenant is encrypted and only available to the users within that tenant. Your existing Microsoft 365 permissions and policies ensure that data won't leak between users and groups. And Copilot users only have access to data they've been granted permission to see in Microsoft 365, using the same technology customers have relied on for years. Your tenant sits inside the Microsoft 365 service boundary, where Microsoft's commitments to security, compliance, data location, and privacy are upheld. The Copilot large language models, or LLMs, that process your data sit within that same boundary, much like other Microsoft 365 services. Microsoft does not have eyes-on access, which means no one can view your data. Your data is not used to train the LLMs. And our EU customers can be confident that their data is processed within the EU data boundary. Microsoft 365 Copilot, enterprise-grade security and privacy for the era of generative AI.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Can we go back? Because I know that there was a question, and I want to just circle back to the Copilot for Excel. We can just go back to that slide there, and we can just replay that. I know that there was a question asked about Excel. Yep.
Copilot puts all the rich capabilities of Excel at your fingertips. Say you need to analyze this quarter's sales results for the monthly business review. You start by asking Copilot to analyze the data and give you 3 key trends. Within seconds, you've got what you need, but you want to drill in. You ask Copilot a follow-up question about one of the trends. Copilot creates a new sheet, giving you a sandbox to play in, and helping you get a better understanding of what's happening without modifying the data in the original sheet. You ask Copilot to visualize what contributed to the decline in sales growth this period. Copilot adds a little color to make the problem jump off the page. Now you want to dig a little deeper and ask a follow-up question with a what-if scenario. Copilot not only answers your question, it creates a simple model of the scenario, and even asks you if you want to learn more about what it did, with a step-by-step breakdown. Finally, you can ask it to create a graph of your projected model. Copilot has turned a sea of data into clear insights and actions.
Great. All right. So I hope that for anyone that may have missed that, was able to capture that information. Again, just to really reemphasize the capabilities of Copilot and all the applications within the suite that we've talked about today, but specifically with Excel, because I know a lot of people really use Excel for work and for various productivity projects and what have you. So really exciting stuff that you can do with that. Okay, great. I'll go ahead and jump into the, now that we've got all the videos out the way, we can jump into the AI principles, right? And so Microsoft believes that the development and deployment of AI must be guided by the creation of an ethical framework, right? Your data is your data, right? And your data is not used to train the OpenAI Foundation's models without your permission, okay? Your data is protected by the most comprehensive enterprise compliance and security controls. And the principles are rooted in fairness, reliability and safety, privacy and security, as well as inclusiveness. Okay, and we want to make sure that we're emphasizing that there's a key focus on being accountable and transparent about your data. That is got to be at the top of our priority as we look to using AI, is remaining transparent and accountable. Okay, and also just ensuring again, like I said, there's fairness with everyone in the data that we use. We want to make sure that however it's used is being used fairly with respect to people's involved. Okay, and just to kind of to really drive home this point, for the 1 billion people in the world, right, that live with disabilities, right, AI technologies can be a game changer. Okay, it can be a complete game changer as it relates to ensuring that there's inclusiveness in design practices with developers as well as to tools and services, making sure that everyone is considered, everyone's needs to ensure that they can remain productive is considered, and we can address any potential barriers in a product's environment that can unintentionally exclude people. All right, and so improving that intelligence requires that stakeholders really understand and comprehend how and why AI systems function the way they do so that we can identify any potential performance issues, safety, privacy concerns, biases, exclusionary practices, or unintended outcomes. All right. And so we really want to drive home that focus. That's a key focus for Microsoft and within the 365 family and all their tools. All right. Data is the fuel for AI. Okay, that's what ensures that AI is able to do what we're asking it to do and what we will ask it to do in the future, right? Today and tomorrow, right? And you need to trust what the technology partners you're working with are doing with your data. Okay. And so again, just to reemphasize that, it's important that we emphasize that we want to make clear that your data is your data and it's not being used without your permission. Okay. We'll move on to the next slide here. All right. And so there's an early access program here. So these are just based off of the feedback from those who've been able to utilize it. So we have with the company here, Flow. You see the feedback here from a senior cloud engineer who says, I do believe that there isn't a single job position in the company that won't benefit some way from Copilot being available to them. That's talks with a senior cloud engineer. Then we have a chief operating officer here, Mr. Paul Birkin, and with Open Ocean Studio, saying that I'm really impressed with how Copilot works in Outlook. And I had it generate several emails for me, and it did a really great job. And all I had to do was add my own details, and they were ready to send. Okay, so as you can see across various skill sets, right? Copilot is beneficial. Copilot can be a game changer just depending on how you use it and how it impacts your business. All right. Good stuff. All right. Next slide. So you're probably saying, okay, Mike, you've sold me on it. I'm really excited to jump right into it, right? How can I get started, right? And so there's a series of steps here that these are some of the things that you can do is really making sure that is, again, as you talked about before, is learning how AI is poised to create a new way of working, is making sure you're understanding of all things we talked about earlier in the slides. How can it benefit your business? Do you have the infrastructure in place and so forth? um, there's also having there's a getting started content as well as a resource for adoption link that we can provide for you that again will give you a sense of exactly where you are and how you're trying to get to where you want to go, right? As well as also, we want to make sure that we're also discussing, security, privacy, and compliance as it relates to your business, and just making sure that the Copilot solution is tailored to that, and making sure again that you're familiar with getting acquainted with the art of prompting utilizing Copilot Lab. And I think we may have missed that. I may have missed that slide there, but essentially Copilot Lab is a tool that will allow you to share your Copilot prompts. So let's say if you have a particular prompt that you find very useful for generating information as well as your business, well, you can keep a log of those prompts in Copilot Lab, and you can share it amongst your teammates to ensure that you guys are able to remain productive. And again, that's within Copilot Lab. Okay, great. Next slide. All right. And also wanted to let you guys know that we do have an upcoming webinar on the 14th of October. So it will be focused on AI-powered cybersecurity, protecting your data, right? And so we'll have Marie Weiss, the CEO of Marketing Copilot with Microsoft. She'll be present, as well as several great speakers, Yasmin Abdi, Ali, who's on the call with us, Kamara, who's our founder and CTO of Amara Tech Solutions. We have Dion James, who's a partner engineer, okay, well, within the public sector, and Nareen Babu, right? So we have a great list of speakers. It's a really exciting conversation. So please register if you can. And if it will be a little bit easier for you, you can use that QR code to register for the upcoming seminar. And again, that'll be on the 14th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. And the link has been put in the chat as well. Okay. Awesome. And we can go to the next slide here. All right. And then again, this is a QR code for the survey for this training. for this webinar, excuse me. So please provide feedback if you can. It's greatly appreciated. And then from this point, we'll stop the slide and actually get into a quick demo of the tools that we talked about today.
No, thanks, Mike. That was pretty great. Yeah, I mean, where you're trying to get that board, that's fantastic. And if anyone have any questions as well, we're yeah, happy to answer your burning questions on what AI is doing. So Mike's done a fantastic job just explaining where things are going and how we're transitioning into the AI stuff. It has its benefits and opportunities as well, but there's also very a lot of benefits that come with using AI, just increasing your productivity. And so Copilot, Microsoft have championed that, and Copilot is doing this kind of work. So I'll let you go on with your final demo, and then we can take some questions in the end. But really great timing too. Good stuff, mate.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and jump into the demo here. All right. Hey, great. All right, so go here. All right, so link there. Here we go. Okay, so just showing you, so within Copilot, this is how you can access it within your browser. So again, this will be within your browser here. This wouldn't be your Internet Explorer. So you're gonna go right into the top right hand corner here, and as you'll see, you'll have Copilot listed here, and you can set your conversation style to however you like. So let's just say I wanted something a bit more concise and straightforward. I'll click on concise. Then, precise, not concise. And then you can click on ask me anything. So let's just say I wanted to ask it to summarize the top 5 features customers look for in their electric bike in 2023. So click on that. And just like that, Copilot's going to, again, use ChatGPT to pull a whole sort of information and organize it for me. And so as you can see here, I get a list of all these top features here. But let's just say I want to do a little bit more with that. Let's say I want to share that information. So then you can go in and ask it to create a summary, based off this, and literally tell it exactly the tone of the email, right? So let's say we want to give it a more professional tone because we're sending it to company executives, and it's going to be in an email, but I want to keep it short, and just give me a draft. And just like that, it takes that information and creates an email based off of it, just like that. Now you can obviously review that email and provide feedback, but you can see just how quickly Copilot was able to take that information that you asked it for, take it, and then transfer it and make it into a usable email that you can send to your boss. This now has been your task for the day. You just got it done in probably less than 5 minutes, just like that. Okay. So let's check out a bit more. So let's just say here you would just go to, let's say you want to go to Copilot, and then to connect to Copilot, you would just go ahead and sign in, and you sign in with your typical email address. So you sign in, you click on next, enter your password. All right. So I'm fully signed in, and as we can tell, I'm signed in because I have my information shown right here, right? So I'm signed in, and so I have all this information regarding these bikes, right? But I want to do a little bit more with it. So let's take a look here. So I'm going to take this data, right? All this information regarding the bikes. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go into Copilot, and I'm going to paste it right into here. I'm going to ask it to take this information and write a short value proposition on this specific e-bike. Once I paste the information that I copied from the previous screen, Now we sit back and watch Copilot do its thing. So now Copilot is going to take this information, and with the prompt that I gave it, it's going to generate the proposition. All right. So see, it's giving us all this information here, all the key pieces of data, as well as links. It gives me additional links to expand my knowledge as well. And it's been created for me. Now, I want to take those specs and I want to compare them with the top 3 e-bikes in the market, as well as a quick summary of using the descriptions and the citations, right? Again, I'm being able to take data that I'm asking for, compare it, and it's consolidated. Really cool stuff. So we do that, and now all within the same screen, it's able to now create a comparison. All right. So it creates a comparison as well as gives me reference sources. So I have reference sources that if anyone asks, like, hey, where'd you get this information from? It's right there. And as well as the additional information. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm cooking with grass right now. So I have all my information. Let's create a logo, right? So I'm going to ask it to create a logo for this Thunderbolt electric bike. And using DALL-E, Copilot will now take it and create a logo based off of what it perceives is the business, right? And so it gives us a couple cool logos here, you know. I think the one in the top left is pretty cool. My son would probably agree. But yeah, really, really cool stuff, right? So we have the logo created and we're doing good to go. We're good to go so far with that. So let's see what else we can do, right? So we have this PDF file here, right? So let's take a look at it. How can we use Copilot to really maximize this file here? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Copilot within this PDF, and I just want to have it generate some social media posts based off the web page, include emojis, right? So for those who are in social media and have to make sure to maintain the pages, this was going to be a great tool for you as well. So now it's going to create the actual postings that you can just copy and put into your Facebook or Instagram or X/Twitter, right? It creates that for you. All right. Already done, just like that. So now I've gotten that information done. I've made my posting complete. And now I'm going to go ahead and send it out, and I'm done for the day. All right. Take a look here. Sign out with the environment. Close everything out. And I'm done. All right. Well, actually, my boss just sent me a quick little email. I'm not done for the day. I have something else I need to take care of. So let's see what else we can do. We can always jump back into Copilot and do any additional tasks or assignments we need to. But as you can see, we're able to quickly knock out those key components and those key items with relative ease, right? This is the power of Copilot. Just in this quick sample, you can see all the things we can do within a very short period of time. It's just being familiar with how to navigate the environment and utilizing the prompts in an effective way, which again, through time and training and provided with the resources, you'll be able to do with no problems. Okay. But in terms of our demo, we're pretty much good to go on that end. But I did want to open it up for any questions that anyone may have had based on what you've seen today, or any of the other capabilities of Copilot that you're interested in knowing about.
Yep, this is fantastic. Great. Omar, go ahead. I'm sorry,
Hey,
guys.
Mike.
Before we hold on one second, would that be possible to get everybody on video? Just take a screenshot for our social media post, if that's okay with folks. We'll be happy to do that.
You can go back into hiding
That's
afterwards.
I know.
that's good with me.
I mean, we can probably. I mean, we can. I don't know. Yeah. Caesar, come on video. My video is not even on, and I'm giving the instructions. But yeah, go ahead. I mean, we can. People can. Okay. Um. we can go ahead, ask your questions, Omar. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey Mike, this is Omar. I have a quick question. This might be the common question. So you say so the Copilot can post automatically. So, but the thing is related to security, we are giving all the permissions probably to the Copilot. So how secure it is to give the permissions to Copilot, and how can the end user can see that, okay, my all data is protected, even though Microsoft is saying in the quotation mark, yes, it's protected, but how can the end user can see that and make sure it's protected?
And I just
I
want to make
can
sure. Oh, I'll go ahead, Ali, if you want to take that. Yeah, that's fine.
I can take that, Mike. So we are looking at permissions, right? And that's why when it comes to permissions based, we have the different sort of permissions that you assign to specific users. And that's why we're coming to least privilege, right? So giving permission to only things that need certain access. Okay. So when you configure your Copilot, when you set it up, you gave it permission to reset in data. And once those permissions are set, you're only allowed to see or read this particular data. So at some point, that segregation does exist. So like you said, like you saw in the slide, the 365 presentation, at some point, talk about the boundaries with Microsoft on how it segregated data. So your machine, your data stays within where you are and what permissions you're assigning. And I think Microsoft is doing a great work of making sure that your data is not sort of like over the place, or other, users or other applications do not have access to your application except within Copilot. Security is not 100% there yet. I do think they're still fine-tuning some of the stuff, but I do think with Microsoft, it's really based on the permissions based, and once you assign this permission to specific users or your applications, it kind of maintain or keep that sort of privilege application method. I don't know if that answers your question, but we can go back and forth on it if that doesn't answer your
No,
question.
actually you did. So once you mentioned like during the process, it's in the process, so we can set that up. So I think it's great.
Yeah.
Hmm. And there's just to kind of add on top of that, there's a configuration called EDP. It's Enterprise Data
Protection.
Protection. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the EDP logo looks like a shield. So you'll know that it's enabled whenever you're within 365. It'll be in the corner there. So that's a way of you also getting that visual confirmation that your data is secured. And as Ali mentioned, you configure what Copilot has access to when you're doing the initial setup. So at that point in time, those permissions are already established. It cannot go into those that particular data if you set it not to. If you set it to do so, then it'll access that data. And hopefully that we were able to address your question there more. But good question.
And look,
Awesome.
the child is trying to say something. I see him trying
Oh,
to unmute.
yeah. Hi,
Uzama,
Ali.
go ahead. Hi.
Yeah, sorry. I'm on the trail working while I'm listening to this. Great information. I've been trying to enable Copilot because I'm also in the Microsoft Azure space, and I know it's I don't know if it comes with my package, but my question is this: machine learning aspect of the AI thing. Um, the inputs we do into these machines and AI solutions are also serving as a machine learning path for the machines because they're not really up to optimal use right now. But my question is this: currently, I'm doing my PhD. I did a research on zero trust, and by the time I did it about 4 or 5 years ago, there was certain findings that I found that were not on any literature that I searched in, both in the university space and IEEE. I'm senior member of IEEE. But after I did some analysis with my data, after a year or two, I started seeing, a couple of months later, I started seeing that data being utilized by some other articles that were popping up on the internet. My question is this: as much as your data is not compromised, how um, how do we protect data content and originality of information while utilizing these AI?
That's a great question. I'm not sure I can answer all of that, but how to protect the data content. I think your data content can be protected using sort of the applications that come with what you're trying to do, right? And then basically setting a guardrail, right, around your data. So if you specify what you want people to see, right, that's what's going to happen. People will be able to see those contents and data as well. Okay. And so for me, the most important, even when it comes to security, right, is putting guardrails around your security. So like, we have like, say you have a house, right? And you don't want people seeing into your yard. You put a fence around your yard, right, to protect other, intruders or possible buyers to see what's. So to protect your content and data, you only put what is necessary out there that you want people to see, right? Stuff that you think you need access around or protection, you do not try to do that, because once you do it, once you put the data out there, it gets exposed to a lot of different, users, and, a lot of different applications, a lot of different people get access to those data as well. So for me, protecting your data, just for me, is I would just put out what I think needs to be put out there, and what is not necessary or what I think is confidential, I try not to really put it out there, except by putting certain protection or guardrails in place that make sure that data is protected, and and the information in that data is also encrypted as well, so that it's not easily something that you can actually get access to. But that's a good question, and I think that's something we need to kind of really discuss further in the conversation, and kind of really look into as well. So we look forward to having some input discussion with you on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Can I just interject?
Yeah, go ahead if you have anything to interject on
No,
there,
no, I was just
Charles.
talking about the protection he was talking. I'm thinking about it. Another way to do it, when he talked about finding his publication or wherever he did all over the place later on. I think one of the ways we can do is to go to pattern these things. If you pattern your whatever you produce, then when people want to use it, they will see the pattern. A light there that I can just use this thing like this because it's for somebody I have to reference them. But many times when we publish things, we don't pattern them, we just let it go. So obviously, anybody can use it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. The issue with that is I was still doing research. I've not completed it. So you know how you get your research data, and you wanted to
Yeah,
make sure that it aligns with standards, um, and all the jazz that has to do with the data you're trying to push out, and then you do the analysis and get something good, and then the data is for a couple of months before you publish your own data. Remember, as a PhD student, your data is not published until you defend your PhD. So anybody can actually use it at that time. But the patenting it go has a couple of levels. One, it has to be an approved data, and then two, it has to be something that they can test and see that it's
Yeah.
only you that is doing it. So it's kind of a long process. But thank you so much, because I know the AI thing is still developing, and hopefully we'll get to where data can be categorized or attached to a first input into the system as we move. Thanks.
Great. Any more questions? No, that's a really great point. AI is still evolving. There's a lot of, there's risks, there's opportunities, there are benefits to it, and even the developers are still trying. They're still trying to grapple with, how to kind of really get this stuff formulated as well. So it's something that is ongoing, and we hope that there's going to be some kind of development and protection, because that's what more people are scared about, worried because, oh, my data, my data, my data. And data is the lifeblood, right, of everything we do. And so protecting your data, especially your customer data, is the paramount and most important piece of what we're trying to achieve over here. And so, yeah, and we'll be discussing some of that in the webinar on Monday, just looking at some of the risks, some of the opportunities, and some of the benefits, with that happening. So, um, Z, if you took a shot, that's good. If not, can you put out the registration stuff for the AI stuff again on Monday, so people can kind of have a one look. And then if we don't have any more questions, we're going to try to wrap this up. And please complete the survey because we need that for our Siva, do you have any questions? I see you shaking your head. Do you have any questions? No? Okay. All
I
right.
hope, yeah, well, I hope this presentation and the demo was helpful, was beneficial for all of you today. It was a
I
pleasure.
think someone have a question, man. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sure. I'm sorry.
Miss
Is there
Mina.
someone a question? Yeah, go for it.
Did she just go blank on us? Oh, okay, there she go.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. So my question, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing those slides again because I came in late. But I have a question because Copilot has been frustrating me of late. Last week, I was able to, there were a couple of things I was working on and it was helping me analyze some data. And it was able to give me a downloadable file. All of a sudden, I cannot get a downloadable file. And I'm not sure what's going on. So it will tell me, here's a file, I've updated whatever it is that you wanted, and here is the link, and I will just see the name of it, but I will not see a link. And I'm reading through forums trying to figure out, other people are complaining about it, so I don't know if this is something that you guys are seeing, but it literally just flipped on me in the last few days.
So it's generating a file and it's providing that file to you via a link, right?
Yes, it's
And,
supposed to be, and it's not doing it. It
and
just says
so,
this is the name. And then
mm,
I was like, okay, maybe because I already have this file saved, maybe I need to get another name. So I'm like, rename it with this, and it does it allegedly, but then it's not giving me a link to download.
okay, so again, I want to make sure I'm tracking. So it was giving you a link at one point that was it working at some point? I guess that's the question. Was it
It
working?
did work. It worked over the weekend.
Okay.
And then this week, when I went in to do something else, a couple other things, it just wouldn't give me the link.
Okay, so it provided the link before, but now when you do it, you're not getting the link. It's telling you that it's giving you a link, but there's no link there.
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay.
All right, so I probably haven't seen that yet. I can step in on that one, Mike. I probably haven't seen that yet, but I can always if you can reach out to me, I can kind of see what's going on to see why you're getting the link and then but another thing, do you have a licensed version?
I do.
Okay, great. Because sometimes the free version works for a little while and then
Yeah,
it
I
has
was just gonna say,
certain
yeah,
capabilities, right? And so
yeah.
if you don't have a licensed version, you will run into those sort of problems as well. It could just be a configuration issue at some point. So we can probably just look at it. If you have time, just reach out to me and then
Okay.
we can look at it and see what's going on. But I haven't seen that yet, so I cannot say, hey, this was going on. But I'd be happy to look at it and see if we can fix it.
No problem. Thank you.
Yep. Go ahead, Mike. I think you can wrap this up.
Oh, sure, no problem. Again, just want to thank each and every one of you for your time today. Hopefully, this uh, webinar was helpful. Again, just to kind of reemphasize, AI is not something you should have to fear. In fact, it's something we should all embrace, right? We should seek ways to embrace it. It's always been there. The strange thing is it's been there in little instances, but now it's a bit more pronounced. It's a bit more out there, right? Seek to really jump into learning about Copilot and all its capabilities. You'll find that it can do so much for your business, so much for you, even personally, as we went through the demos and the videos have shown. Um, there's a shift coming, and those who really embrace this technology will be the ones at the head of the line as it progresses and evolves, and it will grow. It will evolve as we've seen. You can now do voice with different AI models and stuff. The possibilities are endless. All right, but you want to make sure that you're well versed and accustomed to using the information. And again, no fear, just jump into it. We'll be more than happy to provide additional resources or questions. If you have any, please feel free to reach out to myself or Ali, as well as hopefully we'll see you guys at the upcoming session on Monday on the 14th on AI and cybersecurity. So again, my name is Mike Major, Senior Azure Consultant with Amara Tech, And thank you for your time today, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Sorry to be late. Hey, B, Al, yeah, I'm here, but listen, I'm really sorry about being late, but the internet connection here in Ethiopia is not that great. I really wanted to get in
Are you connected
get
from
in a little bit
Ethiopia?
earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. And,
Awesome.
I got
awesome,
it.
Awesome.
Okay, well, for you perhaps, you probably hear me better than I hear you.
But it's awesome. I mean, from Adi, that's cool.
Okay, I really need to be a part of more of these meetings because I do have a large swath of African content. I call them continentalists that want to be a part of this. I got the tail end of the meeting, and I'm hoping that you guys will do this on a regular basis because there are people that I do believe that want to participate. But depending on the network, but I definitely see something here that we need just from what I heard that we need here. But my question to you guys, with regards to the Copilot and the languages that are integrated or accessible, because as you know, Africa has over 82 different countries, and I can't tell you how many different languages. But I mean, at the professional level, okay, English is spoken pretty much everywhere, that and French. But the French that I hear when you're just talking about normal translations that I hear, I'm both French and American, that I hear in France is totally different than the French that I hear here, and as well as the English. So I think that there might be some sort of problem when it comes to utilizing Copilot, I guess, at the enterprise level. I'm just talking about the enterprise level here. And I think it's something that we have to address. I do want to talk to you guys about and how we might be able to utilize that, okay, here on the continent. Seriously. So I'm looking forward to our next meeting. And hey, Al, I'm really sorry about me being late, but you know how it is.
No, this is
That's
great,
it.
and I think this is great, and I think that's what we're trying to do. So definitely, you coming from Ethiopia, that's huge for us. I think we're trying to also look in those areas as well. And when it comes to Africa, it's a little different, right? We are on the global north. It's different from people on the other side of the continent, and that's something I want to talk about on Monday because as much as we have some of the facilities over here, what are the infrastructure Africa had to power these things as well, right? We have the capacity over here, and then how can we build the capacity on the continent as well to help leverage some of these AI tools and technologies that we are using, so it empowers the government and empowers the young people, and it empowers the economic stability of where we are going and where things need to go, and increase productivity, right? When it comes to Africa, productivity can be really slow. And that's because just the lack of the infrastructure, the lack of the training, lack of understanding that we have over here. And so we would be happy to kind of do that. So if you can just get people to register for the next one, follow the link. I know I've talked to you a couple of times, but yeah, let people registered, let them sign up and they can reach out to us. Myself, Mike is here. I have Christy on the call as well. I'm sure she might not be able to talk, but this is where we are going right now, and so we're just trying to help educate people on the different sort of AI and how it benefits everyone.
Yep.
All right, this has been an interesting session. Yes, and yeah, go ahead, Pierre.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Yeah, just keep in touch with me, Al. I can definitely get more people that have asked questions over the last couple of months because AI is relatively new, and there are people who are afraid of it, believe it or not. As you know, you don't know, Ethiopian, much of Africa is a paternal cultural society, and many of the countries are run by old folks, I'd call them. And it's hard to change. It's hard to make that change, but it's coming. I mean, whether they like it or not, it's coming, and they need to get prepared for it. It's that simple. So
it's gonna hit them in the night.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
and I hope to have more people participate from here
Yeah,
in the continent.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I was listening to what you're saying, and it's so true that there's opportunity, but there's some opportunities to break through, and we have to
Yeah.
continue to persist and really just break down those the fears of it and show how it can be beneficial, right? And we can only combat those things with education and compassion, and being empathetic to different cultures and the things that kind of permeate through them, but also make sure that we're providing value. I think ultimately when you provide value and you show people how it can benefit them and make their lives a bit easier, it helps take away at those concerns. But no, it's fantastic that you're able to join the call. It's awesome to hear your voice, and I look forward to us talking to you more. And again, anyone else that you can share,
Likewise, absolutely.
please bring them with you next time or tell them to come along. I'm sure we would love to talk with them and again continue to have these discussions, because this is where it starts.
Yeah, man, this is cool.
All right, good. And
Yes,
again,
looking forward
we
to
have
it. All right, let me go up here.
absolutely. I'll
This
go up
this
here. I'm sorry.
network is
Go
no, I'm sorry, but this network is really going to start to crap out here in a bit. But yeah, I think the next meeting is around the same time. Okay, which is good for Mondays, I think. But Friday nights through Sunday nights, it's just terrible here around this time with regards to the network.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just want to
All right.
make you guys aware.
Thank
Okay.
you. No, thank
I'm
you for
really
the heads up on that.
okay. All right, look forward to talking to you guys again.
Thank
I'll
you,
talk
Peter.
to you a little bit later. Okay, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. And yeah, everyone, again, please make sure to grab that QR code. You don't want to miss Monday. It's going to be excellent. If you thought today was great, Monday will be even better. We're going to have a great panel to really talk about AI, but as it's related to cybersecurity, which is so important with all this data that AI will be utilizing to make these services available for us. So please grab that link, share it with your friends, your associates. You don't want to miss this. All right. But for everyone else, again, if you don't have any other questions, again, hope you have a wonderful weekend. Again, thank you for joining us for today's webinar.
Thank you, guys. We will be in touch. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.